So you can follow me as I love you. Do you? Okay. Yeah. Oh my god. Hello, I'm back. Now let's go over the last tier. Finally, the final and last tier. The incident slash reference. So this may be a sensitive topic to some of you, so I apologize on it. So one of the more prominent things that you probably noticed as I'm speaking about this game on the iceberg, and also from my other video, my first Stereo Saddle video, you'll notice that the old flag was red. Do you remember what was in the center of this flag? Some type of kanji, right? But what does it look like from afar? Something very reminiscent of something that is very offensive, which is the reference that I'm talking about. On top of this, I got a comment on a YouTube video on Stereo Saddle. I wanted to read this comment. Now, from this comment, you can see that if you really think about it, this game has a lot of references to the German stuff that happened long ago, which can stem from the uniforms to the flags to the royalty slogan. This person also incorporated some history from Japanese, such as the ties with the Third Reich. I think that's how you say it, right? Just in general, showing that this kanji, which is in the game meaning rights, can also kind of reference to the history. This person also mentioned the execution methods that could also be a reference as a whole to what we're talking about. Now again, like the comment said on the bottom, this is just a theory, but honestly, I know I can't say that it's true because I don't know. I'm not the developer himself, but honestly, it just feels all true. It feels like this could be the reason why things work. It's really a really good theory, so thank you for those comments. Now that we're actually talking about historical events, there's another thing that happened in this game that involves a historical event. I'm not sure what year this was in, but it was probably in the start, or after the start of Speedpaint, which is the game where you can create assets of your own. Now I remember there was, I think, a group of people making these assets. Now let me show you what this asset is. Now tell me exactly what does this remind you of. This asset was made and it was used by a group of people who would join multiplayer servers wearing this along with a long white polo pitch type of robe type of thing. And what does that really remind you of? Let me tell you, it's not Patrick in a ghost costume. You hear that, no way? You can't just assume this is Patrick in a ghost costume. People have seen them in game and they have reported them to No Way. Just be like, hey, can you like ban these players? Can you take this asset off the store? But No Way being No Way, he said, oh, maybe it's Patrick in a ghost costume. What the hell? Moving on to Noah's grooming accusations. A player by the name of Cookie Chan used to be very active and even got Noah's attention. No Way had been reaching out privately to Cookie Chan. At this time, it's believed that No Way was 30, 40 years old, while Cookie Chan was actually 13 to 14 years old. No Way would always offer Cookie Chan a place in his videos. He even has a video that has Cookie Chan is mine on the thumbnail, and it's him carrying Cookie Chan in game. A while ago, Cookie Chan came out again under the name Malibu. She has proven that she's actually Cookie Chan by showing how she has access to the account. She has also shared some experiences here that will show on screen that is really concerning regarding her and No Way. I got all this information from a TikTok account that is dedicated to exposing No Way for his actions. But for legal reasons, we have to say that all of this is alleged stuff. However, it is enigmatic in the sense that it makes sense even though we don't have 100% proof, and it doesn't look well for him either. And you can't lie, even if he wasn't trying to groom somebody, he's really doing stuff that he shouldn't be doing with a minor. Even though it's virtual stuff, it is still stuff that you should not be doing. Stuff that shouldn't be normalized between a middle-aged developer and a child. Why do you do this No Way? A long time ago, when the game really started to take off in its multiplayer servers, there used to be a player by the name of Kawaii Miku. It is speculated that Kawaii Miku is actually No Way in disguise. Now, this might seem like a stretch to you. However, if you think about it, who was one of the most prominent people that was featured in No Way's videos? That's right, Kawaii Miku. And guess what? Kawaii Miku has a YouTube channel where she plays this game, Sailor Sailor. People have said that Kawaii Miku actually connected to No Way's email address, which I don't really remember if that was true or not, and I don't think we have much information on that. But it has been said in the past, and I think it was true at one point, but then again, I'm not completely sure on that. If we looked at Kawaii Miku's videos, every single video is Sailor Sailor. There's nothing else, no more content. That's all they play. Every single video also incorporates a bunch of emojis in it. And I don't know about you, that doesn't really seem normal to me. I don't know anyone else who does that. I also remember seeing a live stream on the official YouTube channel for the Zero South game that incorporated Kawaii Miku. But the thing was, every time one person moved, the other would move after. So it's like, they didn't really move at the same time. What does that really tell you? But to prove this, I'm not saying this is true because it might not be true for all we know. I feel like it's definitely leaning more to the true side. I mean, if you think about it, why wouldn't No Way act like a girl on YouTube to promote his own game? It just seems like something he would do. Next one we have is Zero Saddle is a fetish name. What can I say about this? I mean, true, you can guess what I mean by this. There's so many fetish content and fetish elements that really stand out in this game, even if you're not searching for it. The arresting, the duct taping, the handcuffing, the blindfolding, all of this stuff. The humiliation, torture, the way that you can contain students, high schoolers by the way, in cages. The fact that there's so many references to women and women hygiene, it's just unnecessary to say the least. There's also references to lesbians and other sexual orientations, which is fine. But when it's literally in your face all the time and every quest revolves around orientation like that, it just feels like fetishy. And it has always been this way ever since the beginning of the development of this game. And it's just truly a shame because a lot of people have grown up on this game not knowing, or not realizing that this is all the developers' fetishes. I feel disgusted just by thinking that I used to grow up with this game and I didn't know about this. And it was really something that flew over a lot of our heads. And Akane implied SA. Since I didn't know exactly what this one meant, I decided to go ask Nina because she was one of the people who was part of the making of this iceberg here. This topic on the iceberg refers to if you look in Akane's room where she was found, you'll find a couple of items. Most notably, two bricks were found on the floor that pointed towards where Akane used to stand. In the game, there's actually an option to investigate every single object that's found in this room. When you press the room, Sayori wonders if these rules are used to torture. This applies to the theory that Akane might have experienced SA in this room. Also, the fact that Akane was forced to drink is absolutely just something all in its own. So this topic can also apply to that as well. Also consider the trail of blood on the floor. That begs the question of what really happened here. The next thing around in this last tier are things that I don't think really belong in the last tier because it doesn't really match the level of everything else in this tier. So my bad, that's my fault. This is my first time making a official iceberg. I'm so sorry about that. I want to talk about both of these at the same time because they really mean the same thing. It's very clear that this game used to have old graphics. When you used to pull out your phone, it used to look like a real phone from the 2000s as the lighting was absolutely horrible and the old graphic shadows were way more realistic in my opinion. And I also think that the textures were less blurry. In all, I think that the old graphics were better graphics. It just felt more realistic. Wild Life still has some of those old graphics. For example, the camera. And this really ties into the fact that this game feels lonely. It really does. Walking around this school by yourself, it feels like you might be being watched or followed. Solely due to the fact that this game's graphics feel very unfinished. It kind of reminds me of the loneliness that Gmod can really give you, especially the default ones. The ambience in Sayori's style, along with Sayori's breathing, and everything else that really gives this game a unique feeling is really all that I can say that contributes to its lonely feeling. And it still feels like this to this day, even though it's been updated and there's multiplayer servers. It still has that lonely aspect. Ryuko's Sato. Now, I don't think this also belongs in the last tier, but this was actually something I learned from Lovebox on Discord. Ryuko's Sato was actually the